Good morning. Good morning. It's Feedback Friday, and it's all about things you can do to set yourself up for success. Those who don't know me, I'm Cheryl Andrews. I'm the listening detective, and I help people do more of what they love, delegate the stuff they don't, and ditch the critic that says they can't. I do that by helping them to listen to themselves, but also training them to listen to themselves and others without judgment, so they can give more effective feedback when things are working, but also when things are not working. So it's Feedback Friday. Today is all about my Friday musings. I've got 3 things I want to share with you. One is about the word ditch, second is about retirement, and the last one is about legacy. So let's start with the ditch one. So I put some survey out this week and asked people, if I was writing a book, well, not if, I am writing a book called Do, Delegate or Ditch, what would you want to see in it? So I would love to hear from you on the comment below. If you were to pick up a book with the title Do, Delegate or Ditch in it, what would you expect to see in it, or what would you want to see in it? It's been interesting listening to what people would expect, what people want, and noticing, thinking, well, I'm actually definitely not going to put that in, but actually I could create that as a free resource. So that'd be great. There's been great ideas come from that. But the one that really captivated me and has left me pondering and made me realize that a lot of the work and what the book is about is just how hard it is for some people to ditch. So letting go of relationships, letting go of contracts or clients, or letting go of a way of working, letting go of anger, frustration, letting go of anything can be really quite challenging. And what I'm looking to do in the book is teach people to get clarity of what the thing is that they want, help them have confidence in the process, what is the steps they need to do to get through from one to the other, but more importantly, what support do they need to change the way that they talk to and about themselves, because ultimately that will influence how your own system reacts and behaves to different situations. So I'd love to know from you, ditch for you is like what? Now, for one person that fed back, she said it was like a sort of a ditch, as in like a ditch in the road, and you get in and you're stuck in it. Whereas for me, ditching is, cutting, it's like a severing, it's a getting rid of. And I have noticed that for me personally, I used to be quite like if I did a declutter, I was quite ruthless. I'd have my calibration, it's either this and this, it's going to be a charity box, it's either going to the tip, or it's going to be whatever. And I'd have my piles, and I would just get the items and just literally methodically go through them. And it was quite fast, and it was quite ruthless to some extent. I didn't allow myself to get too emotional. But I've noticed since I became more worried about the planet and want to be really conservative about where I put things in landfill, that whole ditching of physical stuff has taken much longer, and I've needed more support and a different way of doing things. So my ditch before used to be just get rid of it. And now there's more of a considered process where I'm thinking about the impact of ditching on both myself, other people, and my family. So I'd love to know for you, ditching's like what? Second thing that came up this week was about retirement. So I'm looking to do some work with my mentor in 2022, where we're going to be looking at retirement for you is like what? And so I'd love to know your thoughts on retirement. If, when you're listening to this video, I don't expect you to answer all the questions, but if this is something that's resonating with you, one thing I know that's really focused Mark and I, my husband, is the absolute clarity that we want him to be in a financial position so he can actually retire. Thank you, Sarah, for saying she loves the colours on LinkedIn. Good morning. I hope you're doing well and your book is really successful. Please use this chance to put your link to your book. Any free opportunity to promote it, please take that, because I know your book makes a massive difference to people out there who are wanting to go into HR consulting. So please share that with people. And we're just talking about retirement, actually. We just call it completely the other way. But they talk about when you set a business up, what's your exit strategy? And what I've noticed since we're working towards a financial plan for Mark, my husband, to retire. We did say, when we spoke to the financial advisor, that I was going to work to at 80 and he was going to retire at 55. And then I suddenly realised I didn't really like that plan. It didn't sound like a good idea. So it's a great example of, get clarity, make sure you say what you mean what you say. And what I realised is that I as long as my memory works, I will want to coach. I love being a coach. I love doing clean language facilitation. I love helping people get clarity of what they want. But the thought that I had to work until I was 80 didn't appeal to me. So I've been getting fascinated about that. And what I've discovered is the thing that I was finding was hard work was the marketing. It's finding clients. So I decided that I also wanted to be in a position at 55 where I didn't need to have clients financially. Therefore, I wasn't putting myself out energetically, doing posts on social media, being here on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, wasn't doing any of that stuff with the purpose of attracting clients or selling my books or etc. I was just going to rock up with my musings, and if what I had to say was helpful, great, rock on. If not, no problem. Because I realised I don't have a problem talking about stuff. I love listening to people. I love interviewing people. Which reminds me, Sarah, I don't know if we haven't done it yet, but I've been doing some author spotlight with Karen. So let me know and get an interview booked in, and if we haven't already done that before. And so I realised that if I just rock up and do my musings, I don't have to spend a whole load of headspace going, what should I talk about today, planning all out, being very strategic about it. I can just literally talk from my heart. So I've decided I ain't going to wait for retirement. I'm going to do that right now. Because at the end of the day, the algorithms on LinkedIn, Facebook, etc., they're going to do whatever they're going to do. So the best I can do is rock up and be me, talk about what's I'm noticing, what's caught my attention, and ask you questions to share what's going on for you. So that was the second thing on retirement. So if retirement is something you're thinking about, I'd love to know your thoughts on it. Because I know when I've talked about retiring before, other people go, oh, why would you want to retire? And other people say, oh, I can't wait. And so we've got lots of things. But if you are not clear, don't have clarity of what you mean by what you say, or even what you're thinking about retirement, without even realising, it will be influencing every decision you make right now, right today. It'll impact, every time you see somebody else doing something, you'll be like, oh. And I really hate the idea of people waiting until retirement to live. One of my motivators for that is my mum. Bless her, she died at 63 in 2006, and she had been in her eyes, she say a stay-at-home mum, but actually she always worked 9 till 3. She worked term time, she worked in factories, but her job was very much working around my dad's military career. And she was just waiting for him to retire, and she never made it to retirement. So my husband and I have a plan for tomorrow but live for today attitude. It's like, yes, we've got to put some plans in place, but not at the expense of enjoying now. So I see too many people working, and when I'm successful, then I'll have more time to listen to the kids, and when I'm successful, I'll be able to do that. So I really want to encourage you and urge you to think about your time story in terms of your retirement or your plans, but most importantly, living your life to the full. And last thing I want to talk about is legacy, and I'd love to know your legacy, Sarah, because I know this can be a big one, that in this modern world where you've got all these people talking about your missions and your visions and how you're going to change the world, is I genuinely do want to change the way the world listens, okay? But what I found for me personally is if I was trying to, because the way that my brain works, and if I listen to loads of people on social media, etc., I am somebody that has to consciously choose to ditch what I've heard, because I tend to hold on to a lot of information, and I've had to learn how to let go of that. So when I think about changing the world, that has quite a big impact on it feels like a huge responsibility. Whereas if I change my world, so I make sure that I rock up and I be the best partner, wife, sister, daughter, mother, friend, grandmother that I can be to the people in my immediate sphere, the people who are closest to me, to my clients, to my friends, my family. If I am the best listener that I can be to them, that I know that when somebody is really truly feels heard and understood, they are in a much better position to listen to other people. And by nature, because I write books, because I come on here and talk about it, and I talk to people about how I'm listening, I don't just assume this invisible task, people understand what I'm doing and what I'm putting people's attention on. I know that I will leave that legacy behind. But I write my books, and that's how Sarah and I know each other. So those of you know, it's up there, well, I can't do it on the StreamYard, that one there. Manage Your Critic, From Overwhelm to Clarity in 7 Steps. I wrote that book because my children are used to me listening just the way that I listen. But they didn't know that I trained for 12 days as a coach to learn how to ask questions to help someone to make a decision. And the book I'm writing about now is Do, Delegate or Ditch. It's the training that I've gone through and the patterns that I've noticed listening to people, because The other thing is your brain is hardwired to listen to patterns. But it's if you're not consciously aware of which patterns you're acting on and making decisions based on, then you will often end up in vicious cycles, repeating patterns that really don't serve you. And that's why we have Feedback Friday, because if you don't take time out daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, annually, and actually go, what is working for me right now? What's not working? What could work better? If you don't do those reflections, you can end up in this perpetual cycle of just ending up back where you're feeling like you're back where you started from and getting really frustrated with yourself and other people. And that isn't really a great way to live. Whereas if you stop and think about what worked, what didn't work, what could work better, then you have a chance to consciously decide to do more of the stuff that's working, get help with the stuff that's not, and ditch the stuff that doesn't serve you. And I know that clean coaching and having someone to talk to who can listen to you without judgment is the most effective, efficient way from a time point of view to change your behavior. So if you want help with something, sometimes all the help you need is someone to listen to you so that you can sort out all that spaghetti in your head. Sometimes though, you need someone to help you go through a process to work out, how do you let go of something? How do you change a behavior? How do you create new habits? What works for you? You can read loads of books about it. You can go on social media. You can Google, can't you? Anything, how to change habits. And there'll be millions of other people's processes shared with you. But the one that's going to work best for you is the one that you've got inside, because you have changed a habit before. You have let go of something before. You have ditched something. You have these behaviors. You might have only done it once or twice, but if you model out how you do it, you'll be much quicker and faster at doing the change, because your system goes, oh, I recognize this. This is familiar. We've done this before. Oh yeah, we can do this. And so confidence isn't something that has to be worked at. It just happens instantly the minute you become consciously aware that you know how to do it because you've done it before. Whereas if you're trying to learn somebody else's stuff, then you're going to be in the realms of unfamiliar, and therefore it will be more challenging by nature. So I want you to think about that today. I want you to think about your legacy. What is it you want to be known for? And I've always got this thing that I lived a life I was proud of and that I was kind and thoughtful. That's my legacy. And to do that, I have to be less stressed about work. I need to be present with the people that really matter. So I'd love to know from you, what's worked this week? What's not gone so well? And what could have worked better? Thanks for joining me today, and I look forward to hearing your responses. I'm just about to pack up and go on a writing retreat for 4 days with Karen, although we are staying in the apartment for a week because we couldn't buy just 4 days. But for the next 4 days, I'll have my head down getting book number 2 written. And I look forward to hearing your responses to today's video. Bye.